This is a regular workshop meeting of the Middletown Township Committee for September 5th, 2017. The notice requirements have been provided for in the Open Public Meetings Act, have been satisfied. Notice that this meeting was properly given by transmission to the Star Ledger, the Independent, and 2 River Times, and by posting at the Middletown Municipal Building and filing with the Township Clerk on January 5th, 2017. Committeeman Fiore?
Here.
Committeeman Massell?
Here.
Committeeman Sedembrino?
Here.
Committeeman Sedembrino is conferenced into this meeting. Deputy Mayor Murray? Here. Mayor Scharfenberger?
Here.
Mayor, please pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We take a moment for a moment of silence to honor the troops serving worldwide, defending our freedom, Constitution, and way of life. Thank you. First on the agenda, we have public hearing of proposed ordinances. Ordinance 2017-3204, a bond ordinance providing an appropriation of $1,120,950,000, various capital improvements by and for the Township of Middletown, authorizing the issuance of $1,046,903 in bonds or notes for financing part of the appropriation.
Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to ordinance number 2017-3204? Leo.
Leo Gustafoli, Middletown. I have just 2 questions. Is the situation of issuing the bonds, does it call for producing a supplemental debt service statement?
Supplemental debt statement was done when the ordinance was introduced last month.
Oh, so there's one available. Okay, second question, which is about $48,000, call it what you want, front-loaded, a premium that reduces the total amount by $48,000. Do we get a reduced interest as a result of that premium? I think we're paying it. We're not getting it from the
No, that's a required down payment amount. You have to put it down whenever you do a bond ordinance. You have to put 5% down as a down payment. That's required by bond law through state statute.
and so how's it credited?
It's just, we don't have to issue debt for that portion of the ordinance. The ordinance is authorizing a certain amount so that we can go and do projects or buy equipment. That amount is funded internally, so we're not authorized to issue debt for that portion, which we pay a down payment on.
Is that in effect income for the lender, the broker?
No.
No.
It funds the ordinance, the projects, and the equipment. It's what we use to pay for those items. It's a portion of, yeah. We budget for capital improvement fund each year, and we save up money in there, and we use that to either fund projects fully, or we use it for things like down payment on larger projects.
So that $48,000 that we're borrowing.
No, we're not borrowing
that comes from
it.
the budget. That's budgeted for. It's in the budget as part of a capital fund that is used for the down payment. Just like if you were going to get a mortgage on your house and you had to pay the down payment, had to be paid with cash.
There you go,
Thanks for
Brian.
the
Good.
analogy.
Okay. Anybody else care to speak about on ordinance number 2017-3204? Okay, seeing no further members of the public come forward, move to close the public portion and move for adoption.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore?
Yes.
Committeeman Massell?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedembrino?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Scharfenberger?
Yes.
Next on the agenda is ordinance 2017-3205, an ordinance codifying the health benefits waiver policy.
Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to ordinance number 2017-3205? Seeing no members of the public come forward, move to close the public portion and move for adoption.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore?
Yes.
Committeeman Massell?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedembrino?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray? Yes. Mayor Scharfenberger?
Yes.
Moves to adopt ordinance. Ordinance 2017-3206. Ordinance expanding the list of prohibited acts on certain township-owned properties.
Are there any members of the public who would like to speak to ordinance number 2017-3206? Yes, sir.
Yes, Don Watson, living at 1 Collinson Drive. Just had a couple of questions. I was talking to some of the residents around town. They were wondering if this applies to like remote control vehicles or drones or stuff like that. It's just more like four-wheelers.
It's motorized vehicles that are ridden by people. Yeah.
Stuff that's
On
ridden by
township
people.
property. Yeah.
All right, that's what I thought. Okay, thank you.
That's it. Anybody else care to speak to 2017-3206? Seeing no members of the public come forward, move to close the public portion and move for adoption.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore?
Yes.
Committeeman LaSalle?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Schaffenberger?
Yes.
Motion to adopt the ordinance after public hearing is finalized. Ordinance 2017-3207, an ordinance establishing Halloween curfew.
Okay, are there any members of the public who would like to speak to ordinance number 2017-3207? Seeing no members of the public come forward, move to close the public portion and move for adoption.
Second.
Committeeman Fiore?
Yes.
Committeeman LaSalle?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Schaffenberger?
Yes.
Motion to adopt ordinance 2017-3206. Next on the agenda, we will have a consent agenda. Resolution 17-228 through 17-233, and the volunteer firefighter applications with one notation on resolution 17-232. There is an additional redevelopment planner that is added to that resolution, and that will be for Najarian. If I could have a motion to
Can I
approve the
just
consent.
ask a point of clarification? Resolution 17-231, because I can't pull it up here, and I did look at it over the weekend, but remind me what we're amending here?
That's an increase to the original contract. We needed to increase it by another $5,000.
It's just to complete the redevelopment, the architectural study on the McCloud-Rice house.
They couldn't do it under the
No,
bid price?
No, well, the price is still less than we had actually budgeted for it, so, but the issue was, because of it's becoming a challenge to establish the criteria for qualifying for the register, so there's some additional research that's got to be done in order to accomplish that.
Bless you.
Okay, for the consent.
If we can have a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Move for adoption.
Committeeman Fiore?
Yes.
Committeeman LaSalle?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Schaffenberger?
Yes.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing the Monmouth County Open Space Grant application. Before a vote is taken on this resolution, it's required that we have a public hearing, and I believe a comment or explanation of that.
Jenna, why don't you come up to the table? So we'll have an explanation of what the grant application is about, and then if there's any public comments or questions, we'll take those.
Okay, so the township is proposing a municipal playground renovation project at the following parks. Croydon Hall, 900 Landover Road, Block 682, Lots 52, 53, 54, 6, 5, and 4. McMahon Park, Alberta Avenue, Block 83.02, Block 44 and 43. M.T. Thompson Park, New Springs Road, Block 1099, Lot 3. Chanceville Park, Aberdeen Terrace, Block 777, Lot 14. Countryside Park, Karen West, Block 116, Lot 85, Block 117, Lot 11. Glencroft Acres, Orchard Hill Drive, Block 335, Lot 2, Block 336, Lots 1 and 2. Bodman Park, Market Street, Block 978, Lot 1, Block 979, Lot 1.01. Block 980, Lot 1, Block 972, Lot 114, Block 977, Lot 1, and finally, the Tiny Keller Community Center, 50 Gray Avenue, Block 421, Lot 5. So right now, the township currently owns 26 playgrounds throughout the town. The project is proposing to upgrade or renovate 8 of them. The overall focus of the renovation is to promote a healthier community and quality of life. The proposed renovation at each park varies depending on the current status of the playground. Some parks would be receiving upgraded bridges, tubes, and panels to existing structures. Others would be receiving complete replacements. With the importance of gross motor skills and childhood development, some playgrounds would receive additional climbing, balancing, and motion structures. The proposed panels will help with fine motor skills while inspiring creativity, adventure, and imaginative play. All of the parks will have inclusive components. For those parks with swings, an accessible swing seat as well as a swing along for parent and child to swing together will be added. So now specifically at each of the parks. So Croydon Hall's renovation includes a full renovation that will add an element of fitness and wellness with a senior center on site as well as a summer camp program for young children and children with special needs. This site will have something for everyone. A wellness system for adults and seniors, traditional playground for young children that includes inclusive components, and an upgraded ADA swing are proposed. McMahon's renovations include an upgrade to parts of the playground for children ages 5 to 12, a new bridge and new panels, as well as a full replacement of the structure for children ages 2 to 5. An accessible swing seat as well as a swing along for parent and child to swing together will be added. MT Thompson Park. This park's renovation consists of a full renovation of the current structures. The proposed traditional playground will have features that aesthetically blend into the wooded surroundings. Since this park houses the Rally Cap program for children with disabilities, all elements will have a strong emphasis on inclusive play. An accessible swing seat as well as a swing along for parent and child to swing together will be added. Chanceville Park. This renovation is similar to McMahon's, which includes an upgrade to parts of the playground for children ages 5 to 12, a new bridge and new panels, as well as a full replacement of the structure for children ages 2 to 5. Countryside. This park will also receive a partial renovation. A new tube, new panels, and shade structures are proposed. The addition of swings, including an accessible swing seat, as well as a swing along for parent and child to swing together will be added. Lincroft Acres. The renovation for this park includes a full replacement of the old structure with a traditional playground for children ages 2 to 12. An additional motion play swing suitable for multiple children at a time is proposed. Bodman Park. This park will also receive a partial renovation. A new tube, new bridge, and interactive panels are proposed. And finally, the Tiny Keller Community Center. This park, which houses our Middletown preschool open recreation program, as well as our preschool summer camp, will be a partial renovation. The existing structure will receive new panels, however, a structure specifically for young toddlers will be added. Additional proposed new elements are a large spiderweb-like climbing structure and a multi-person ADA swing.
Janet, this is an annual grant?
This is an annual grant that we apply for, correct?
Okay.
We did not get it the last year round.
Right, I remember.
Is it already matching funds?
It is. We are applying for the full amount of $250,000 with a match of $250,000 to make the whole project $500,000. It can go a long way.
All right. You guys open it?
Yeah.
Does anybody from the public have any questions for Janet's presentation? Yes, sir.
Yeah, Janet, could you clarify what panels and bridges are? You
Sure.
mentioned that in a couple different
Sure,
parts.
the bridges are what connect two different portions together, just like, regular
Like a
bridge with
bridge.
sides on the side, arms on the side, but we're upgrading them to make them a little bit newer for some of them. And then the panels are the ones where there's something, like the tic-tac-toe is what the most common one is, that's in our parks right now. But we're looking at other ones to propose tracing, some of them have scavenger hunts throughout the park. So
Okay.
those are what the panels are.
Great, thank you.
Okay. Yes, Leo.
Just a hypothetical to clarify, if this $500,000 from matching funds, at the finish of all construction or renovation, etc., you spend only $100,000, the township is bound to return, I believe, 200,000 of that grant fund, is that correct?
I mean, if we didn't utilize all the grant funds received by us, we would have to return what we didn't use.
Is that correct?
That would be correct, yeah.
What's the anticipation of the cost? Must have some kind of,
We do, it's $500,000. So the $250,000 would come from the county grant, $250,000 would come from the county to Township's capital program next year, and that would be the total $500,000. And we've gotten price estimates, so we're fairly confident that they'll, you know, the estimates from when we go out to bid will come in those ranges. So I don't suspect that there will be, you know, a significant amount of money left over.
what do you do if there's a change order? If you have to,
Well, if there's a change order that we can afford, then we will consider it. If there's a change order that goes above the amount budgeted, we won't do it.
thank you.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? Okay, people can move to close the public portion.
Second. Good job, Janet.
Vote on that resolution.
Committeeman Fiore to close the public portion?
Yes.
Committeeman LaSalle?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray?
Yes.
Mayor Sharpenberger?
Yes.
Just to clarify one other item on that grant, it's not necessarily assumed you get the $250,000 you apply for. In the past, we've not gotten the full amount, so we would match whatever amount we were fortunate enough to get from the county.
Okay, this time we need a motion to adopt the resolution.
Make a
there's
motion
a-
to adopt?
With which option do we? Yeah. Is it with option three?
Option three.
With option
Yeah.
three. So sorry, do we have a motion?
I will make a motion.
Committeeman Fiore?
Yes.
Committeeman LaSalle?
Yes.
Committeeman Sedambrino?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Murray? Yes. Mayor Sharpenberger?
Yes.
Okay, on the next item on the agenda is the discussion items for the regular meeting for September 18th. The first item A is a rezoning property from R10 to B1 zone district.
Yeah, this is an area adjacent to, well, in Campbell's Junction, but there was one block of frontage along Leonardville Road that was never put into the B1 zone. It was still zoned residential. There's only 2 properties in it. One of them is already a business. The master plan, when it was last done, did recommend extending the B1 down that one more block. It's only about 100 feet or maybe 200 feet at most. But I guess one of the property owners in there has indicated they have been interested in, you know, making a business out of their property.
Is this,
Yes, it is. You didn't even have to ask. Yes, it is.
I just.
Yeah. But the business is in there, the vet, home vet business is also there. But it is supported by the master plan. It was recommended a long time ago to do it. So I don't see any downside.
That'll cure a multitude of ills.
It might, yeah.
So is the sale of that property contingent on us changing the zoning?
I don't know about that.
I was looking at the memo here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's actually literally contingent on it, but I'm sure it would help. It does make sense, really. I mean, you have a business, they have a home sandwiched between businesses and a bus stop, and it's naturally going to get complaints if it's, you know, if it was used as a business, it would make more sense.
All right.
Okay, the next item, are we finished with that?
Yeah.
The next item on the agenda is the Impact Oasis Farm lease, Stevenson Park,
We're carrying that to the meeting of the 18th
for action.
for action, yes.
We're carrying it to the meeting 18th for action item,
Well, potentially an action.
potential action.
Yeah.
The next item is the proposed proclamations and presentations for the September 18th meeting. So there's a list that's attached to the agenda for the committee's perusal. The next item is for bids for the police uniforms. I believe there's a memo there from Lynn Matei explaining police uniform bids. Do you have anything to add to that, Tony? And then item E is bids for the pavilion structure with the green roof at Parsley Park.
Can we go back to the Stevenson thing here?
Yeah.
What are we doing on the, are we carrying this to the month of October, or are we just going to take actions and we'll discuss on the 18th? I'm kind of confused.
Well, my thinking was if we talk about an executive session at the next meeting, then we may or may not act on anything that.
It's not,
Oh,
it's
so
not,
you're
it's
really
not
planning on
right.
putting this in exec?
It's not,
Okay.
it's not right.
Understood.
It's not
All right,
right
I was,
to-
I was,
it's not right
okay,
for action.
all right, okay,
So
so it shouldn't be on, okay.
Yeah,
All right, all right.
the lease would have
I
to
was
be
just confused.
negotiated,
I
yeah.
was just confused. Okay, sorry. I was like, sorry. 9 years after 9 years, I didn't know these things.
And then that's,
Well, I guess we want to talk about that.
Yeah, the pavilion at Parsley Park went out to bid, the bids were open, and there was a, even with the money that was received from the Conservancy, and the actual grant, there's still a shortfall of about $20,000 for the base bid, and then $30,000 to actually put the concrete pad underneath it. In total, 30 total, it would be 30 shortfall total. So we have an option of either finding additional funding or perhaps going out to bid for another smaller pavilion, smaller size pavilion.
How much money is available right now?
I think it was 60,000 at the
Total was about 86,000.
86, right.
86,000 was total.
81,000 was our budget.
I mean, my thinking is if we've only gone out to bid once, let's cast the net a little wider, go out to bid again. Maybe we can tweak it a little bit to get better bid proposals.
So we do then in that case, we'd have a rejection at the next meeting then.
So there are numbers.
Doesn't the trust still have any, the Parsley Park Conservancy Trust still have any?
That is part of the grant.
No, it's not part of the
Yeah,
grant.
no, I don't think they have that kind of money anymore.
They don't have 20 grand?
Got it,
This is the money that they have
This is
set
the
aside,
pavilion.
right?
What was the donated money?
Donation, right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's part of it.
This was
There were
donated.
two, there was
Yeah.
a donated one, a family donated money to have.
Yeah, the
Yeah, and
eldest.
then there was
Something
a grant,
in the
okay, so that was the
family's name.
donation.
It was a donation and a grant,
Okay.
and our capital altogether was $81,000.
That's
So,
How many, did we get any bids? How many bids have we got?
There were like 3 or 4, I think, yeah. There was,
There's a lot of good
and we have an alternate, was actually the patio and the concrete, and I think that's almost a necessity really to do this.
and maybe if we, tweak the size of it a little bit and bid it out once again. The people who bid on it now know what the bids were, so they usually will come in a little bit better second time around. I'd at least take another shot at that before we start talking about adding more money. So we'll, on the next meeting, there'll be a resolution to reject the bids and authorize us to rebid.
Okay.
Ms. Township, any comments?
Okay, Mr. Marcel,
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to hold my comments for our regular meeting.
and Field. Mr. Fiore.
Mayor, I have no comment this evening, thank you.
Mr. Severino down there. Any comments?
Nothing this evening, Mayor, thank you.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Murray.
Deputy Mayor, thanks.
And always wanting to fit in. I have nothing.
So the public comments next is on the agenda.
Okay. Before we start public comments, I just want to remind everybody to please give your name and address for the record, and also to keep your comments to 5 minutes. If you want to go beyond 5 minutes, we'd be happy to stay around and talk as long as you like. So with that, anybody care to speak? I have a quick hook tonight, so go ahead.
Thank you. Name's Don Watson, living at 1 Collinson Drive. When you voted on the open space grant, it was mentioned something about option 3. Could you explain what option 3 was?
Option 3 was the list of parks that were read off. We had a couple of options of different parks with different improvements. Option 3 was the one we ultimately recommended going with. They're not like very different, but slight differences. There was one big difference was that we were considering at least trying in one park going with a different type of surface, completely like a rubberized surface, which was pretty expensive, but has some benefits. But ultimately we decided not to go with that. So that was it. There were 3 different.
So option 3 was what was read off and
Yes.
described?
Yes,
Okay.
that's what we're applying for.
That's what I wanted to know. Thank you, that's all I got.
Okay, anybody else care to speak? Leo?
Leo Christopher, Middletown. I want to make a correction in my calculations. I went to a mathematician, and I gave a document, I think at the last meeting. My 2015 and 2016 property tax bill was increased by $631 on my 2017, 2018 property tax bill. The mistake I'm correcting is that I said it was I think 12.4%. The new number is the $631 represents a 14.1% increase according to only the 2 property tax bills I cited at this meeting. I don't know if you're used to looking at this as another way, a calendar way, strictly. I don't know how the mathematics works, but that's what I've come up with. The second thing, while I have the time, there's 4 statements that come out on private, public sector problems and the financing of them. One is a September 4th editorial from the Asbury Park Press. Assistant Governor Galdano has a statement dealing with this same problem, with the idea of making sure property taxes don't go above 5% of gross, I assume gross income.
The school portion.
My property taxes would drop from 5,000 to 3,000. So if that gets going, the financial geniuses have to get the things wheeling. Another article's in Investment Business Daily, lower right-hand quarter on the same subject matter. I may Xerox this stuff and hand it in to you. I'm not prepared to do it. And there was a big, long article by 2 experts. Basically, I think they're pro-public sector union people. There was no real debate between them. I think the Asbury Park editors try to make look like it as it was. If you bear with me, I'd like to read you 2 short paragraphs from the editorial of the Asbury Park Press today. I moved so many papers.
Leo, if it would be easier, you can make a copy and we read the whole thing.
Well, I'd like to have this in the public record, if I may. It's very 2 short sentences. I can, yeah, here it is. I guess this is the editorial. Experts also expect the Supreme Court to soon issue a ruling effectively imposing right-to-work laws in the public sector. Now, these newspapers don't make a distinction. They don't say private sector, and they don't say public sector, because the issues have to be really sharpened. Like if you use illegal alien and legal alien, the debate can get really hot and 2-sided. So at any rate, let me continue. Experts also expect the Supreme Court to soon issue a ruling effectively imposing right-to-work laws in the public sector across the nation. Such a ruling will weaken, this is the editorial opinion now, such a ruling will weaken unions even more, which won't benefit workers, but it might benefit property taxpayers. The reputation of unions has been tainted by selective cases of bloated benefits, especially in the public sector where taxpayers shoulder the financial burden. So thank you very much.
If I may add, Mr. Christophe, and we can talk afterwards, yes, I appreciate that, but rest assured that the current Senate leader and Assembly leader, along with the proposed nominee for, one of the proposed nominees for governor, clearly have an interest to get rid of the 2% property tax interest arbitration cap. So all those nice things that you just said over there will mean nothing once that cap of 2% on arbitration awards expire. So, property taxpayers shall lose when
So
that
Gardner's argument addresses the
We-
problem
we'll talk.
of interest arbitration, and nobody understands what that definition, even I understand it's in the control of the police department.
What it means is, in years past, there were rulings well north of 2% by arbitrators, sometimes north of 6%, sometimes greater than that, and that was stopped 2010, and now is sunsetting on 12/31, and every contract thereafter shall no longer be based on the Assembly and Senate leadership's viewpoint, shall no longer be bound by that percentage. So Colleen could probably tell you after the meeting how much that will impact your valuation that you, or your property tax bill that you were so eloquently speaking about. So, thank you.
Thanks, Leo. Anybody else care to speak? All right, seeing no further members of the public come forward, move to close the public portion.
But you may be dealing with public
Sorry.
sector unions and that.
Missouri, Committeeman Massal, Committeeman Zed and Reno, Deputy Mayor Murray. Mayor Shelby.
Yes.
$3.8 million.
Too bad.
Incentive retirement program.